embark on a swift journey through Vung Tai's iconic landmarks, from the towering Christ the King statue to the historic White Palace, serene temples and enchanting pagodas. Join us on our spiritual escape. Hello.
Hello.
And today we arrived in Phu My in the early hours of the morning, and our excursion today...
In South Vietnam, we should say.
Yes, it is. It's in South Vietnam. And our excursion today is a highlight of Vung Tai.
Vung Tai city tour, I think it
Yes.
is. Yeah.
So, shall we just sort of describe? So, first of all, the place where we're moored, the harbour where we're moored.
Not the best. It's a
industrial.
working industrial port, lots of containers and things. Sometimes you're lucky and you get a lovely view, like in Ha Long Bay, and sometimes you don't. So that's what ours is today.
And we've got lots of shipping containers.
Lots of shipping containers.
But it doesn't worry us particularly. We've come to go round the Vung Tai city and to take in some of the aspects of that part of the neighbourhood, really, and to appreciate a little bit more about South Vietnam and how it differs from North Vietnam.
And it's such a difference. South Vietnam is so different from North Vietnam, isn't it? Just totally different.
In many ways. It's different in terms of the environment. It's
people are different, I think.
People are different,
Yeah, they are.
And the culture's different.
Yeah.
The tour guide.
The roads are better.
Yeah.
They've got plants along the road and they're kept better. And the place itself, it's just so different from North Vietnam.
It's also hotter and more humid.
Oh my goodness! We've come down in North Vietnam. It was quite pleasant actually. It was about 26, wasn't it? 25, 26.
Yeah.
Now we've come down to South Vietnam. It's like 32, and it is their winter. It's so hot. It's so humid.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
You don't have to walk far before you've worked up
Absolutely.
a little bit of a sweat.
And I'm one of those people that goes red. And boy, was I red today. It was absolutely dripping. It was awful.
But anyway, let's talk a little bit about the excursion. So after we'd sort of piled on the
air-conditioned
coach,
bus, thank goodness,
and taken off, the first place we went to was a statue of Jesus Christ.
The Jesus Christ statue.
Which is on a hill.
We didn't go up the hill on this tour.
No. But I think it's a 30-metre high statue.
Thank goodness
Jesus
we didn't
Christ.
have to climb up it. But we took lots of lovely photographs, didn't we?
We could only really see it from the road. And it was quite impressive. That's the other thing. As we were going to that statue and generally along the streets, saw a lot more churches, Christian churches. Obviously there were a number of
That was due
pagodas.
to the French, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the French had a massive influence in this area.
So there's a lot of Catholic churches.
Yeah.
And then there's the temples and Buddha. So it was quite interesting, wasn't it?
Today we were docked at the port of Phu My in the southeast of Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. And Ho Chi Minh City used to be known as Saigon. And it has the most people of any city in Vietnam, with around 9.3 million people in 2023. There is absolutely nothing to do in port. It's a commercial port very much, and actually crammed with ships bringing in containers and containers moving around. So we elected not to go to Saigon itself, but to actually take the Vung Tai city tour, and our journey time to start that tour really is about an hour. So the port was actually located up a small river, and we're actually making our way back towards the sea. Our first stop today is to go to the Jesus Christ the King statue, which stands atop of Mount Neo, otherwise known as the Little Mountain. It was built by the Catholic Church over a 20-year period and completed in around 1994. It's 32 metres high with an outstretched arm span of something in the region of 18 metres. And we won't be going to the top. We have a relatively short stay here, and we will just be able to see the statue from the car park and over the other side of the road. Stepping back over the other side of the road gave us a lot better views of the statue than you had from the proximity of the car park.
So where did we go from the Jesus statue?
We then went to a sort of hillside Buddhist monastery, didn't we?
No, didn't we go to the White House?
You're right, we went to the White House.
At White Palace it was actually,
Yeah.
White Palace, but actually it wasn't a palace, it was a beautiful French house, which we went and had a look around, didn't we?
I think it used to be the royal residency at one time.
So that's maybe why it's called a palace, but it's really a beautiful French house. It was beautiful as well.
And I'll tell you one thing, the breezes coming in off the sea were lovely. You
Thank
sort of
goodness.
walk round the rooms, and you got this lovely breeze blowing through the shutters, which really cooled you down.
We did it, but the coach drove in and sort of up a bit, and then we had to climb up the rest, didn't we?
Yeah.
Which actually wasn't too bad, but it was a bit hot. But anyway, so we did that. That was nice.
Really, really nice residency, really nice house. Lots of dark wood inside, and a mix of, I assume, Viet Cong or Chinese type culture and French culture. Some of the beds particularly were quite French.
But the building
style.
was definitely French, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Really nice. And then
We nearly got lost on that one, didn't we? Because suddenly usually he's the last one on. I'd gone to sit outside to wait for him because I thought we all went in that way and we'll all be coming back out that way, and nobody did come out that way. And then Steve said,
they went down the back exit.
They've all gone, you know. So we hot-footed it down, and they were all waiting for us.
And Joanne was
I was the last one on the bus.
Yes.
Normally it's him.
Normally it's me, and
Yeah.
I get told off, but still.
Yeah.
So the journey took us along the coastal road for about 15 minutes and gave us a nice view over the various boats and other attractions on the seafront. We will be coming back to this point later in the tour to have a look at the colourful boats and the nearby park. This is the gatehouse at the front of the grounds to the White Palace. It also has the French name La Villa Blanche, and it was actually in 1898 considered as the summer holiday villa of the French Governor General Paul Documur, and it was named after his lovely daughter. But the problem was that whilst it was being built, he got actually called back to France and never actually used it as an official holiday resting. We've just come from the small mountain, and this White Palace is on the big mountain. And the most noticeable thing about this palace is it's entirely white and makes a real statement piece. Outside the palace there's a number of fortification cannons, which obviously are not in a position to be fired, but you've also got some lovely grounds, good collections of flowers, good collections of trees, and some superb views looking over the sea. Hello.
Hello, are you ready to go in?
Longevity, happiness, good luck, and long life. Happiness, good luck, and longevity, long life. Yeah.
And the inside of the villa is kept meticulously clean, and you could almost forgive thinking that the decor in it is absolutely brand new, but it isn't. The palace is no longer used as a holiday home. Instead, it becomes a place where valuable antiques are stored and showed to the public. These electrics look a bit suspect.
And then where do we go from there?
We went to the bay of colourful fishing boats.
Oh, did we do the pagoda?
No, we did Pagoda, didn't we, last?
No, I thought we did the fishing thing. Oh, I think you're right, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
You can see the certainty between us as to what we actually did.
yeah. So then we went to we parked along the beach with these beautiful coloured wooden fishing little boats
Yeah.
and everything. It was beautiful.
And they were all sort of mending the nets and servicing generally the boats, but
Yeah.
the boats were all of a similar type of design, very colourful, lots of blues, reds, yellows.
Yeah.
And we just stopped there at a small park, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
the park itself,
It was very nice.
it was really
Nice and
nice. It had
shady.
loads of sculptures.
I did after looking at the
Yeah.
boats and filming, I sat down because by this time it was just dripping off me.
But there were loads of
There
sculptures.
was a couple of people selling stuff, wasn't there?
Yeah, but the sculptures were lovely.
They were beautiful.
You know.
Yeah.
I would say it was probably 20 or 30 different sculptures in there, and with the backdrop of the boats on
Quite
the
modern
water.
sculptures.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that was nice.
that was nice.
Then we got back on and we went to, was this the pagoda or the temple? Temple, I think.
We went to a temple. The pagoda is very much for people that practice Buddhism, as I understand it, and is where they go to learn more about Buddha, whereas a temple is where they go to worship.
Again, you had to take your shoes off.
You had to take your shoes off. And this was...
There was
actually
3 of them, wasn't
yes.
there? So the
There was
first one you could worship the whale.
Yeah.
There was a big whale outside.
Second
one was Confucius.
And the
Third one was
the tiger.
the lady. No, it was the lady.
Oh.
And I said, are they different religions? And he said, you do one or the other. So I don't know why.
On the talk, I mean, as we're going around, the tourist guide was explaining a lot about the culture, and how in the south they're probably going more towards capitalism than they are communism.
It's different in the north.
They're very used to buying and taking the choices on what they buy.
Yeah.
And very much have individual identities, so different.
And they can follow
haircuts.
whatever religion they want.
And I think one of the biggest religions is worshipping your ancestors.
I think that's what Buddhism is, isn't it?
No, I don't believe so particularly.
He
said a third of the country was Buddhist.
Yeah.
There was another percentage, which I can't remember, which were Catholic, because of the French roots. And
then people that have died, like your parents or something, you would worship them.
Yeah.
I'd quite like to worship my mother.
You know.
Quite like that. That makes sense to me.
You know, so it's about reverence and respecting your people that went beforehand. And he said that was the major religion in Vietnam. It was really interesting actually talking to him, and again a similar sort of message to the one that we got from the tour guide in North Vietnam, is that the country's changing. That when he grew up, he had a second-hand bike. He was born, I think he said 1970.
Yeah.
His father died when he was very young.
And
and his mother had to bring him and his
2 other brothers up.
On her own. And everything was sort of hand-me-downs, etc. And these days, you know, everybody has a motorbike. You know, what you can get on a motorbike is unbelievable. We've seen everything, I think. Today it was a step ladder. I've seen rebar for cementing, 8-foot long rebar being carried. We've seen live chickens. We've seen
loads either side and at the back.
And a washing machine. And so, you know, we've seen loads of things carried on the back of a motorbike. But now, obviously, people are more interested in things like cars. And the young in particular left very much the countryside and are now living in the cities. And
don't want to go back to the countryside.
They don't want to. You know, they're interested in making money, and that's why he said the culture's changed. It's changed quite considerably over the last probably 10 to 15 years.
Once more back in the coach, and we're going back the way we've come, and we passed it on the way, which was a little park and some really colourful fishing boats. We're going to have a look and take in the scene round about that area. Apparently Vung Tai means the Bay of Boats, and in one particular part of the bay that it sits on, there is a fantastic display of really colourful fishing boats, These all seem to be working vessels. So back in the day, the French originally had quite a hand in shaping this environment, and you can see that in the long promenades. During the Vietnam War, it became a place where the American servicemen could relax, and these days it's a popular holiday destination for people living in Saigon.
I am so hot. It's dripping down me. My hair's gone flat. And I'm red in the face. I seem to be the only one on the bus that's like it. So, not a good look. But beautiful, beautiful park. Beautiful fishing boats. In beautiful colours. Lovely here. Such a difference between North Vietnam and South Vietnam. We're in South Vietnam at the moment. And the difference is unbelievable. But beautiful. I like South better than North. Beautiful. Over and out from a hot and sweaty Joanne.
Anyway, where were we? We were at the park. Really nice. We then went off to the hillside, to the monastery.
Right. Now that was upstairs in a big steep hill. Mm-hmm. And I was really quite red-faced by then, and I thought, I'm not going to do this bit, because we had been to lots of other pagodas, hadn't we?
Yeah.
So I actually stayed on the bus, and everybody else went up. And when everybody else came back down, they were all going, oh, it's so hot. And I'd been sitting in the nice air-conditioned bus. So what did I miss, Steve, up there?
So a lot of stairs to get up. Steps to actually get up to the pagoda itself, which is a Buddhist monastery.
Did you have to take your shoes off?
You had to take your shoes off when you went into the actual temple part of the... so there was a very large, very, very large marble Buddha inside. And then you could go up some stairs, and there was like a bell tower with an old... Well, a bell was suspended, but you had an arm that you swung at the bell in order to sound it.
Did you film all that?
I filmed that.
Oh, well,
yeah.
I'll watch it with all of you.
You know. And then you could go up some more steps, and the views there were really incredible.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
But I was literally maroon.
Yeah.
So I didn't, and I thought, oh, more stairs. So didn't do that bit, but he did.
Mm-hmm.
A good tour guide. Some of you are good to walk very fast, and the other cannot go very fast. You are not a good tour guide.
Pagoda is the Nirvana Vihara. I'm not even going to try and pronounce its other name. It is sometimes referred to as the reclining Buddha due to the 12-metre marble Buddha that reclines on the altar. It is generally regarded as the holy sanctuary for Buddhism in Vung Tai, and the front hall is the place for worshipping Buddha. The pagoda itself was built facing the ocean into the side of the Niet Ban mountain between 1968 and 1974. And the big hall is located on the first floor, and it's about 30 odd, actually nearer probably 40 steps to get up there. And when you get up there, you see 3 huge statues of Buddha that are all in a meditation position. And then above that's the second floor, which provides an ample flat space for visitors to gaze out over the fantastic open ocean scenery. So one of the most impressive features about this pagoda is the intricate architectural style, and it's that actually draws a lot of tourists to it. as well as it has some fantastic views looking out over the bay. So to the rear of the temple is the boat Bach Dinh, which is actually built of concrete, and it signifies Buddhism as a craft in which mankind can escape Bhikkhu, or the Sea of Sorrow. And this giant bronze bell is known as the Dai Hong Chung. It's 3.5 meters high and weighs about 3.5 tons. We had a reasonable time here to explore the area, but then all too quickly it's time to leave and get back to the coach. And Joanne decided not to come on this particular part of the trip. She didn't feel that she would be particularly able to traverse the stairs, and was feeling a little bit hot and sticky due to the humid temperature in Vietnam.
We then went off to
the
temples. We had the whale temple, which had the bones of a whale in it, and again you had to take your shoes off in order to go round. And
then you had the Confucius.
The other temple we went in was the Confucius temple, which was a little bit smaller, a little less in it than the whale temple. And
then the third one was the lady, he told me.
Yeah, which we didn't go in. Not quite sure why, but we didn't go in that one.
We are now at our last stop of the day, which is the Lang Ong Nam Hai temple, also known as the Whale Temple. It was built in the late 19th century, and it's a small temple compared to some of them around. There are actually many whale temples in Vung Tai. Obviously, being a fishing village, there was quite a fascination with these large mammals by the fishermen, and they have a festival in August with solemn rituals and games to actually celebrate the whale, amongst other things. In addition to that, there isn't just one set of whale bones here. There are indeed several sets of whale bones, and what is alleged to have happened is that a whale got marooned and died on the beach, and its bones were brought up to the temple. Since then, other whales have died. It then appears that they are buried and then exhumed 3 years later, and their bones incarcerated within the temple itself. And the fishermen will come here to pray for their safe return from their fishing trip or their vacations. So this temple has been renovated many times to give its current appearance, and whilst the architecture is fairly ancient, there's a very simple exterior features. Inside there are 3 altars, sort of elaborately carved, and those celebrate 4 different holy beasts, which include the Vietnamese dragon, the turtle, the phoenix and the quillin. It was situated on the same site as the Whale Temple, and slightly to one side was this very small temple, and most of the people at this time had gone back to their bus and were getting on. Joanne and I decided to go in and explore a little bit further as we still had some time, and also the guide was with us at that time, so it made sense. So we then did the temples.
Yep.
And when that was it, really.
That was it. Then we got on the. It was a 4-hour.
Yeah.
And it was about an hour each way, wasn't it?
Yes.
So a couple of hours. Which was enough because it was so hot. So.
Yeah. And it was nice to get back onto the boat.
It was very nice. A bit of lunch.
And have a bit of lunch.
Yeah. And then we're all ready for the whatever happens this afternoon.
We returned the way that we'd come, back to the ship. This was to be our last stop in Vietnam. One of the reasons I wanted to come to Vietnam is obviously I'd never been there before, and wanted to see what the culture was like, what the country is like, particularly as I'd grown up on the horrors of the Vietnam War, and wanted to see what it was like now. What I hadn't expected were the significant differences between North and South Vietnam. Starting with the climate, North was a lot colder, as you would probably expect, and the South was very humid. And also the culture, the people, and the level of development that has occurred. It's very clear to us that the French played a significant part in the development of South Vietnam. Anyway, we're getting back to the ship, and our next stop will be Thailand.